Hello everyone, your voice here and welcome to the channel Sansevieria 101. So for this episode, we're going to feature a Sansevieria species named as or having the collection number of Lavranos 23251. It was discovered 1985. It is found 20 kilometers northwest of Mogadishu in Somalia. This is how the plant looks like, and indeed, it is an arborescent type of Sansevieria. Although Alan Butler has changed the name or the changed designation of it to affinity arborescens, meaning it looks like arborescens but not really the uh, common arborescens type of Sansevieria, since arborescens has very or thinner leaf compared to Lavranos 23251, and also you will see that there are longitudinal lines on the sides of the leaf. There are dark longitudinal lines on the sides of the leaf for Lavranos 23251. So there are other variegated types of variegated kind of Lavranos 23251, or we can call it as affinity arborescens. So like I have explained in the past, affinity means, or aficionado means, that it is something that is very close to the original species but not exactly the same. So perhaps it is a variety of the original species, since both Sansevieria arborescens as a species, they are in characteristics arborescent, and the one that I'm showing you right now, the aficionado of the arborescent, which is Lavranos 23251, is also an arborescent type of Sansevieria. So when I say arborescent, that is a botanical term for a plant species that is having a very tall structure with stems on it. From the stem, there are leaves that are attached to it in cylindrical manner, or in all directions. It is growing leaves from the stem part. So this is the stem part of the Lavranos 23251 species, and like I said, there are other specimens out there that are variegated. They're very beautiful, but for myself, I would prefer just to grow the green form. That is because I don't want to stress myself every time a variegated Sansevieria would act up, namely having brown spot fungus or fungal infections. So I really don't want to stress myself into taking care of those. So I would rather grow the green form, grow them into full maturity, and observe them, and perhaps in the future gifted to have an inflorescence of the species that I grow. So this is how the Lavranos 23251 looks like, and Andres has to hold it down because if he doesn't, the topmost portion is actually very heavy. If he will let go of this specimen, it will for sure fall down. So it needs to be held up for it to keep the position, because the pot is also due to repotting, or perhaps we will transfer it directly to the ground so that it can grow offsets, or perhaps grow even taller. So the one that I'm showing you right now, I can perhaps take measurements. It's hard for us to make this video because I need help from someone to hold it down while I take measurements of it. Can you hold it? The ruler, Andres. So there, Andres is the one helping me out. And actually the plant from bottom to the top, not counting the root bound system of this specimen, is about 24 inches or 2 feet, and it's growing. So I'm not sure if I transfer it directly to the ground if it will continue to grow as tall as it can grow, since I think it endlessly grows new leaf from the top, with the exception if it blooms, then it will stop growing from the top portion and will just produce offsets for us. So aside from that, we have measured the specimen size. I always say specimen because I'm measuring my own specimen. There are other specimens that may grow taller than what I have, so I always specify that specimen size because we're measuring the actual specimen of the plant. So the leaf length is actually about 6 inches, and I'm measuring from the bottom part, from the mid part. The bottom ones would just around be 3 inches, 3 inches. Then from going up, it starts to grow longer as it matures. So this one right here is 6 inches. The one on top is actually about 9 inches for the leaf length, and the ones on top are still growing, so I'm not sure if I would like to take the measurement of it for now. So we have managed to take the measurements for the Sansevieria Lavranos 23251, or the arborescent aficionado. By the way, the leaf tip is very sharp, and it's very dangerous because it's not just sharp, it's very hard. It's like wood, so if you accidentally get poked by it, for sure you'd get stab wounds from it. So be careful with dealing with them, especially with your eyes, and trying to perhaps do maintenance and wiping off the dust from the leaves. Then for myself, I would use protective gear in dealing with this type of Sansevieria. So folks, will be back in a bit, and we will be showing you how we are going to replant this big Lavranos 23251. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a bit. Alright folks, so we're back, and what we're going to do is we're going to prep the specimen for transfer, and the specimen was actually left in a corner where it accumulated a lot of dust on the leaves. So what we're trying to do is to dust off the dust from it. What we use is baby wipes to wipe off the dust off of the leaf of the Lavranos 23251, and then we'll try to figure out on how to remove it from the pot, since it has been pot bound. Actually, I have had this specimen for almost 5 years, and it is overdue for a pot transfer, or perhaps we are planning to plant it directly to the ground where it will be able to access unlimited resources for it to grow larger, and perhaps give us offset. The specimen in front of you right now for many years have not produced a single offset for us. So the one that I'm showing you right now is still Andres cleaning off the dust of the specimen, and it's kind of challenged because it has a lot of leaves, and the leaf tips of Lavranos or Lav 23251 affinity arborescens, they are very hard and dangerous. So when I check back when making this video, the spikes are actually as hard as wood, and will be able to penetrate your skin and do some damage to you. Also, try to be cautious in protecting your eyes, because when you get poked by the leaf tips, there's possibility of your eyes be punctured and damaged accidentally by the leaf tips of the Lav 23251 or affinity arborescens. So right now Andreas is removing the stones of the pot, and then we will try to remove the specimen off the pot. So I'm trying to loosen the pot itself. I'm tapping the pot so it will uh, be removed from the sticking roots from the sides. And as I'm showing you right now, the specimen is pot bound, and we're checking for any pest on the root system. I actually found some aphids growing on the sides. That is why I sprayed hydrogen peroxide to take care of the aphids that are growing on the root system. So the hydrogen peroxide will melt the pest off the root system, and as well as cure the wounds that were incurred by the pest that we found on the root ball. Next video is where we are planning to replant the specimen of Lav 23251. So currently, we have planted on there another species, which is the Sulfurticosa species. It is a species that is having cylindrical leaves and disticus form. So disticus means that it's fan shaped. So it's growing from a stem. Two leaves are in equal symmetry that is forming a fan-like form, and that is the species that we planted on them. So they don't really grow very tall, and I don't think that it necessarily needs that spot that it was planted on. So what we are planning right now is to remove it. Like you see, Andres already removed that clump full of superticosas. That's the second batch that is pulling out from there. So they have clumped up on that spot that we have planted them. So we have successfully removed them, and what we'll do is we'll prep the area or the position where we will be replanting the Lav 23251. So we're still clearing off the rocks. We usually put rocks on top of the soil mix that we have. That is one method of deterring stray cats from digging into the soil mix, because they love to dig on those. Then they poop on the soil mix. They think that it's a potty for them. So we really want to avoid that. That is why we're putting in a lot of rocks on top of the soil mix to hide the soil mix itself. That is one of the uses why we are putting rocks on top of our Sansevierias. In the wild, you would see them growing beside bigger rocks, so they don't really mind that. And as well as we want the soil mix to stay intact on the spot that we have placed it, because sometimes when we water heavily, so some of the soil mix will float out of the spot that we or the pot that we're planting our Sansevierias. So we also want to avoid that. So what we do is we put some big rocks on top of the Sansevieria that we plant. Another thing is the use of those rocks is to keep them in balance when newly planted the root system isn't holding the soil together. So most probably if it get or if it gets touched accidentally, it may fall down if you don't balance them, or over time if you have planted them not very balanced, there's a tendency for it to fall without you knowing it. So that is also one of the reasons why we put rocks on top of the soil or Sansevierias, to keep the plant stable until it can transform into a root ball, or it develops a root system with which will hold out on its own. But even though with regards to our older specimens or Sansevierias that we have been taken care of, we if they are already stable, we actually don't remove the rocks on top of them anymore. So we just leave them in there. Like I said, it's to protect them from the stray cats that would tend to dig the soil and poop on them. Even some birds would dig and check if there are worms on the soil mix. So we want to avoid that. That's why we put some stones or rocks on top of our Sansevierias. I think Andres is done in digging out most of the soil mix on that spot that we're planning to plant our Lavranos 23251 or the affinity arborescens. What I'm doing is flattening out the lower parts of that spot so that we can position the Lavranos 23251. We can have it positioned and it can grow upright. We kind of have left it on its own in a corner for a very long time. That's why it started to bend over. That is because of the heavy top as well. It started to deviate from the upright form, but we are planning to have it tied up if necessarily on the new spot that we have planted it. Right now what I'm doing to do is I'm trying to position it so that it can stay up on its own or be upright on its own, uh, despite the deviation of shape, because if you leave it be, especially with the small pot that it was in, it will really fall off with the slightest touch. So we plan to actually transfer it in this spot we're in. It's beside a wall. We can hammer some nails on it and perhaps tie it with a rope so that it can stay in place. But what's happening right now is that beside it are the neighboring Sansevierias are actually Sansevieria katana and Metallica San Remo. So they sort of help out in putting the or keeping the affinity arborescens in place. So right now I'm checking the base of the root system and see to it that it's flat and it can stand or it can balance itself. Beside that, I'm positioning the leaves of the Sansevieria katana to help out position the Lavranos 23251 upright without the use of any prongs or any wooden sticks to help it stay upright. Actually, the spot that we transferred it in is perfect. By the way, I am showing you the palm of my hand, and I think I poked myself. I didn't even notice it. That is how dangerous the leaf tips of Lavranos 23251 or the affinity arborescens, even the other arborescens type or the original arborescent, they really have very hard leaf tips and they are very sharp. Like I said, it's like a sharpened wood. So be careful if you're dealing with them. You might not notice that, but you might not have noticed that you're already poked by the leaf tips. And more importantly, protect your eyes, because there are times when you're doing some maintenance, wiping off the leaves. You don't notice that the leaf tips are already in front of your eyes. So there are some cases where that happened. Fortunately, the Sansevieria leaves that did that to me are not as dangerous as the Lavranos 23251. So I guess we're almost done, and I'm putting back the soil mix, and I'm putting the white stuff, the white powder that I just put in was a fungicide, and then next the pink one is actually Starkle G. It's a pesticide which is systemic, so it gets in the plant, whatever's hiding on the nooks and crannies of the leaf or the specimen will be killed off with the systemic pesticide. So take note of the pesticides you're using. There are two types actually. There might be more, but I classify them importantly in two types. Systemic, that means it gets into the system of the plants and kills off unseen pest. The other one is contact type, wherein it just kills by contact. So it won't if you sprayed it on the part wherein it didn't hit the colony of the pest, then it did not do anything to the pest at all. So that's those are the types of pesticides that are commonly sold on the market. So um, I think I'm doing some finishing touches here, filling out the area or the location where we planted the Sansevieria 232 or Lavranos 23251. Uh, Actually, it's just Lav 23251. Lavranos is the last name of actually John Lavranos, and some folks are fond of using his name to ID plants. FYI, you have to include the collection number because there are a lot of Sansevierias that John Lavranos have collected in the wild. So it's inaccurate to just use Lavranos as an ID. You have to use LAV, then the corresponding uh, collection number of a Sansevieria that was collected. John Lavranos doesn't just collect Sansevierias, so if there are a lot of Lavranos collection number that involves other genuses of plants that he collected. So you have to be very specific because John Lavranos doesn't just collect Sansevierias, he collects aloes, he collects other plants in the wild. So there are designated collection numbers mixed up with Sansevierias. So you might have the collection number of Lavranos to something something, and it doesn't designate to Sansevierias at all. So going back, Andres is almost done with putting in the rocks back. Actually, that's left over of the cement that we have broken, and we just used it. That's what we use when we're out of rocks or stone. You see me protecting my eyes while putting in the rocks because, like I said, the leaf tips are very dangerous. So I think we're almost done, and please stay tuned as we show you the last clip for our episode Lavranos 23251. Alright, folks, so we're back and we're done with the replanting of the Sansevieria aficionado arborescens or Lavranos 23251, and he or the specimen is now successfully replanted together with its friends. This one is Sansevieria species Sansevieria, and this one is Sansevieria katana hybrid, and we have placed them as such as it would look as natural as it can be, and also it kinda like have a symbiotic relationship with its fellow Sansevierias in this spot because some of the neighboring Sansevierias are like helping it to stay erect or to grow upside or upwards, and it helps the Lavranos 23251 in a stable position, and I hope it will continue to grow in the future. This is the top portion, and you can see that the leaves of Sansevieria hybrid katana is helping out to stabilize the position of Lavranos 23251, because if not, I think the heavy top will start to droop down and will start to fall to the ground. So I think it's a perfect spot for the relocation of the Sansevieria species, although it took a lot of hard work because the plant itself is a mature plant. It's not as easily planted as usual. In fact, did stab my hand with one of its dangerous spikes. So it's transferred to where it wouldn't do any damage to people, and also to somewhere that our pets cannot topple it down accidentally. So folks, I guess this is it for this content. So if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below, and if you like what we have presented, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and you have a great day.